Welcome to Artifact, Valve's new card game based on Dota 2. If you guys haven't gotten a chance to play the game yet and try out the in-game tutorial, then you came to the right place. What's interesting to me about Artifact as a longtime Dota player is that the game doesn't just reference Dota 2's characters and universe, it also mimics Dota's game strategy in a card game way. Like Dota 2, the game board has two sides facing off in three separate lanes with towers defending each lane. In these lanes, creeps spawn and attack the enemy forces every round with help from some of your favorite Dota 2 heroes. This probably sounds familiar. At the start of the game, each player has access to 3 of their 5 heroes, one in each lane, with the 4th hero entering battle at the end of the first round, and the 5th hero jumping in at the end of the second round. The goal in each lane is to kill enemy creeps and heroes with help from cards in your hand. You can play cards that spawn new creeps to help, spells that destroy the enemy units or tower, or cards that buff up your units on the board in many ways. The numbers on each creature or hero show their combat stats. The left number is damage dealt during combat, the middle number, if it's there, is armor, and the right number is health. If your hero has more damage, armor, or health than what they start with, the number will be green, showing an increase. It'll be white if it's the normal amount, and red if it's been reduced. The board shows you how much damage each unit will be taking if combat occurs right now. The red number next to their health shows red for damage to be dealt, and green if the unit will be regenerating health during combat. If there's red X over the unit, that means that they're going to be dying during combat because their health will reach or go below 0. Armor functions by reducing damage taken by a flat amount, so the math is pretty simple. If I have 1 armor against a 2 damage attack, I only take 1 damage instead of 2. If I have 1 armor against 3 different 2 damage attacks, I only take 1 damage from each source, totaling for 3 damage. If a unit has negative armor, any damage dealt to the unit gets increased by how much negative armor they have. If the damage being dealt is piercing damage, then the damage ignores any reduction from armor. However, if you deal piercing damage to a unit who has negative armor, the piercing damage still deals bonus damage gained from negative armor, just like regular damage would. In Artifact, you're rewarded for winning battles just like in Dota. Creeps that are killed reward 1 gold, and a hero kill gives you 5. Gold can be used at the end of each round to purchase powerful items from the shopkeeper that can be equipped to heroes and make them stronger. Every hero has 3 item slots in the categories of damage, armor, and health. Equipped items stay on heroes throughout the game, even through death, so the gold you collect from battles translates to long-lasting advantages. As much fun as it is to collect powerful items, the point of Artifact in Dota is still to kill the enemy towers and throne. Each lane has a tower defending it with 40 health, which only lasts so long against attacking heroes and creeps. Unlike Dota, Artifact can be won in 2 different ways. You can either destroy 2 towers in 2 different lanes, or you can destroy the throne in 1 lane. When a tower is destroyed, no matter how much damage is dealt in the final blow, the Ancient gets exposed in that lane with 80 health. Those are your 2 options: destroy 2 40 health towers in different lanes, or focus on 1 lane to deal first 40, then another 80 damage before your enemies can do the same to you. The way each round of Artifact is played is 1 lane at a time. The leftmost lane begins each round and continues to the right. Each lane gives players an opportunity to cast spells or use abilities, but there are some restrictions. The obvious one is that playing cards costs mana. At the start of the game, you have 3 mana available to you in each lane, and as a round of lanes are completed, the mana is restored and the maximum increased by 1. The other restriction is that you can only play cards of the same color as your hero in that lane. For example, red cards can only be played if you have a red hero in the lane and the mana to spend it. If you have a red and blue hero in the same lane, you can play both red and blue spells. Playing cards is further restricted by your hero's disable state. If your hero gets silenced, you're prevented from playing cards of that color or that hero's abilities. The same goes for if your hero is stunned, both mechanics being reflections of Dota 2. If your hero gets killed partway through the laning phase, then that also prevents you from playing cards of that color. Keep in mind that if you have 2 blue heroes and only one is silenced, stunned, or killed, that you can still play blue cards in that lane. The one card type that is rarely restricted is items. Because items lack color, they can be equipped regardless of disable state or used as long as a target is available. So if you need to protect a stunned hero about to die but can't play a regular card to save them, you can always slap a cloak over them to soak up the bleeding. Just be aware that a hero who's silenced or stunned won't be able to use their item's activatable ability, but they will gain the passive benefits of the item. When a player is finished playing spells or using items, they can press the gold pass button. This gives the enemy player the opportunity to end the round or start combat, or they can also play one of their cards. If they do decide to play a card, the first player that passed gets an opportunity to play a card in response, even though they originally passed. Choosing to play a card is sometimes the wrong choice because of initiative. Because there are 3 lanes, the game remembers who went last, and that allows the other player to go first in the following lane. That's called having initiative. In real life, we had the ability to talk to our crush in high school, but we instead chose to press the pass button because the average person is a social coward, like me. You can check to see who has initiative for the next round by looking at the lane preview in the upper left corner of your screen. The player with initiative has white arrows pointing in the direction of their board in the upcoming lane, as well as the word initiative. With your powerful white triangle arrow thingies, you can use initiative to play a devastating spell against the enemy lane that kills their units and prevents them from playing anything. To quote boxer Mike Tyson, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Once both players have passed in a row, then the units in the lane do battle, and we move to the next lane. Once all 3 lanes have finished, the round ends and each player gets an opportunity to purchase items from the shopkeeper's chest while it stares you down in a weird way. This is the shopping phase. The chest has 3 categories of purchases. The left column is 1 random item that can be purchased out of all the items available in the shop. If you want the item but can't afford it this round, you can pay 1 gold to hold the item until the next round in hopes that you've saved up enough gold by then. The third category is consumable items, and this category functions like the secret shop in that it's a random item and you can only buy 1 per round. There are only 4 items currently in the consumable shop that you can buy here: Town Portal Scrolls, Healing Salve, Fountain Flask, and Potion of Knowledge. The middle category is items that you have available in your deck. Each deck requires a minimum of 9 items to be playable. This is the only category that you can make multiple purchases from each round, so when you start getting really rich, spam that buy button until it stops, if you like spending your money irresponsibly. After making your purchases, we're into the hero deployment phase. In this phase, you get to choose what lane to drop your respawning heroes into, alongside 2 new creeps. If it's the end of the first round, you're placing your 4th hero into the game. At the end of the second round, you're placing your 5th hero into the game. If you've managed to get your heroes killed in the meantime, then their deployment likely matches up with your fresh reinforcements. When a hero and artifact is killed, they wait in the fountain for 2 rounds, which limits your card playing and damage dealing on the board. On the bright side, you have the ability during hero deployment to put them into a less dangerous predicament. The game continues round by round like this until the win conditions are met. More and more powerful spells get deployed while the mana pools ramp up, and heroes gaining more power from items and modifying abilities mean that boards can easily get cleared in one combat. If you've played any games of Artifact yet, you might be wondering, how does hero deployment work and what are those arrow cards that determine attack patterns at the start of the game? For that, we'll have to jump into a new video, but you should have the basics of Artifact down and be ready to play your first game. Thanks for watching!